Now, Executive Suites with WPRI.com reporter Ted Nisi.
Welcome to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi, and today we're taking up a favorite topic on this program, which is the business of beer, a business that's really boomed here in Rhode Island and Southeast New England in recent years. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Jennifer Brinton. Jennifer is the co-owner of Grey Sail, which is down in Westerly, and I bet a lot of you are familiar with Grey Sail. Jennifer, thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's start. I was saying to you before we started, usually I would start the show and I ask someone to say, tell us what you do at your company. Some people are making widgets and things we've never heard of. You make beer, and people will understand that off the top. But talk to people a little. Maybe they've seen you in the shop. Maybe they've ordered a Grey Sail. They bought, they bought some cans. But tell us a little about the company itself, the scope of what you do, and kind of your operation there in Westerly.
Sure. So we are a full manufacturing brewery in Westerly, Rhode Island. We operate on a campus-style setup there. And we do everything from brewing the beer to packaging the beer to shipping the beer out to our distributors within Rhode Island and into some other states. We have all full-time employees. We are up to 13 employees now at our business, which is wonderful. And that's our focus, really. Our core is manufacturing and distribution to our local markets.
And not all of the sort of newer craft beer makers do it all in their own place, right? Some of them farm out parts of it, but you guys are doing kind of end to end.
Correct. We went in 2011 when we started. We purchased our building. We've expanded our building. We've expanded our adjacent properties into adjacent properties in Westerly. A wonderful partnership with the town. And we've grown from there, and we grow on site, and we're very proud of being entrenched in our Westerly community.
How much beer are you guys now making a year? How do you quantify it?
So, unit of measure in brewery terms would be a barrel. So the equivalent of what anybody would look at as 2 full-size kegs would make a barrel. So we closed out 2018 with just over 9,000 barrels.
So that'd be about 18,000 kegs of beer for us imagining the keg. That's a lot of beer.
Yes, it's a lot of beer.
What does it take? What goes into that? Do you have any idea of like how many of the base ingredients you go through in a year to make that level of beer?
We do. So it really depends on the actual batch of the beer, but we're talking thousands and thousands of pounds of grain a day flowing through our system, hops, etc. So gallons of water that are just continually pumping through the building. So it's quite an endeavor. It is a true manufacturing process.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. It's still a manufacturing business,
it is.
Even though it's also a food business. How long does it take from like whatever the very first step is to get going on a batch to the point where you are, taking it out of the tap or putting it in a can or something like that? How long is the gestation?
So depending on the style of beer, most of ours are about 2 weeks. So 14 to 16 days would be the average amount of time. That's from milling in the grain to getting the beer packaged and on a truck and sent up to our distributor.
Yeah, so 2 weeks from
2 weeks. And most of that is fermentation time. The actual
waiting.
brew, the actual time that it takes to make the beer, to churn out that recipe, is within a shift. So that's within a day, and then it's fermenting for most of that time.
So it's a little waiting.
A lot of waiting.
A lot of waiting. And you at Grey Sail, I see it all over Rhode Island now. How far are you distributing the beer right now? We're talking, at the end of 2019. How far and wide are you?
So we are, Rhode Island and Connecticut are our mainstays. We are in Westerly, so Connecticut really is part of our radius there. We look into Connecticut from where we are. And from there, we have a little distribution into Massachusetts. We're into New York a little bit, New Jersey, and trickle into Pennsylvania as well.
So you alluded to it. In addition to the brewery, the manufacturing apparatus, you have a tap room where you make pizza. People are coming and having the beer. It's kind of a hangout space. How important has that been to the success of the company?
So it's been great. It is actually a separate business entity,
right.
but it is adjacent
Partly
to the brewery.
Partly due to a quirk in Rhode Island law, right?
It is Rhode Island law. Some of it's federal law, right? So at the tap room, we have this luxury of geography, I say, that we were able to buy this beautiful space right next to the brewery, which is an old Italian coloniate house, and great large beer garden with a bocce court. We do have a gentleman who does his own pizza business on site, so we were able to get yet another business off the ground in town, which was wonderful to be able to help. And that's been great. It's a great marketing asset for us. It's a great draw. It's a great tourist attraction for people. People go on beer tours. right? So as we talk about the culture of beer, and people go to places for beer tours, and we provide a really great stop, a first stop coming into the Westerly area, not just for the beaches, but to come to the brewery and the tap room itself. So it's been wonderful for the beer business as a whole, I think, in the area for our brand. The tap room, we are able to also feature, because of the way it's set up, other Rhode Island beers, other local regional beers, local wine. So it's really been quite an endeavor.
Have you ever had Taylor Swift come in?
Not to my knowledge. Maybe she's come in when I'm not there.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
She's coming incognito
know.
as our Westerly, our most famous resident down there. Your main, the actual Grey Sail operation, I believe it was the old Westerly Macaroni Company, right? Is it you've converted into this?
It is. So just the geography, being in the North End, our building has a great story in itself. So as Westerly turns 350 this year, and we're a major part of that celebration, we actually brewed the Westerly 350th beer. To celebrate. Our building dates back to 1924, and it was started as the Westerly Macaroni Manufacturing Company. And we've kept the original granite chiseled block on the front of the building, because it really is an important part of our history where we are. So it was that macaroni factory, it was the U.S. Postal Service. It was another local business from '89 until 2010. The flood of 2010 is what made that building become available. Which for us was, again, while it was an unfortunate circumstance, it turned into a good opportunity for us with that building.
Kind of funny, go a century, you go from the food business of Rhode Island is macaroni, and now the food business of Rhode Island is beer. So let's talk a little about the origins of the company. You and your husband, Alan, started Grey Sail back in 2011. Did you always expect to be beer entrepreneurs?
He did. Before I met him in 1998. That was his plan. He really loved it, has just a knack, a skill set for not only brewing it, but for building the facility, for really the whole operation in totality. He's really amazing with all the skill sets that he brings to this business. And in 2009, excuse me, we're going on our 10th anniversary. And I thought, okay, I'm ready to go back to work full time. I had left my engineering career years before. We had children.
4 kids, I think, right?
Right. At the time, we only had 3.
Okay.
And she was going to be starting kindergarten, and I thought, okay, I can go back to work. I could do the business end full time, give him really what his dream had been, which became my dream, as we grew together. And 2011, we were able to launch the brewery. And in that time span of planning the brewery, the 4th, Mary, did arrive. So she's linked to what we'll talk about probably a little later, featured here on the table. But it kind of just grew with us, and it really wasn't always easy. It was certainly tough starting a business, being entrepreneurs, but it was his passion and it became my passion, and I think that made it a much easier road.
Is it a strain as a couple to be in business together, to be, have this, it's like a 5th child.
Right, it definitely is, sometimes a 5th, 6th, and 7th child, but we work really well as a team. So I think where it could be stressful, we bounce out of that pretty quickly, because we really do function well as a team.
That's good advice for every married couple, whether they're running a beer business
and
or just trying to get the house in order.
And I don't think it's business or house or any other raising kids. You just you need to know when to step back and then re-engage, and it works out well. So.
All right, we're doing a little marriage counseling along with the business of beer this week on Executive Suite. A beer can help with that too, probably. So when we come back, we're going to talk more with Jennifer Brinton about Grey Sail, their origins, and why the beer business is just booming in Rhode Island. Stick with us on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi. We're talking about the business of brewing and beer with Jennifer Brinton. She is the co-owner of Grey Sail down in Westerly. And we were talking a little about the origin story, how this was your husband's passion and became your passion too, as you said, Jennifer. Grey Sail, where'd the name come from?
Most of our names are tied to either family or geography. So when we were looking to name this company, we wanted to be tied to the fact that we're coastal, we're in Rhode Island, we're in the Ocean State. We wanted all of that. How do you blend that? Well, we live on the ocean, trying to come up with the name. And our daughter Grace, who was young at the time, only about 7, she was always around in the kitchen, loves working in the kitchen, helping with those experimental things, crushing some hops and things like that. So Grey Ale started.
Oh.
And Grey Sail, we weren't going to name it that, outside of our kitchen, but it became Grey Sail. So that's why Grey Sail instead of White Sail, Red Sail, Blue Sail. It really tied to the family name of our eldest daughter, Grace.
I love it. There's usually a story with that kind of thing. That's awesome. So, we think of whether it's Grey Sail or Foolproof or some of the other beer companies in Rhode Island as, small. A person wanted to do it, operations. But you actually got a boost from one of the biggest names in alcohol in Rhode Island, which is McLaughlin and Moran, the big distribution company. Talk about how they played into your growth and you guys becoming, stable, thriving business.
So that was probably the most concerned I was at starting this business was who was going to pick us up, who was going to distribute our beer, right? We can make it, we can be great employers, we can handle all of that, but who is really going to distribute our beer? And we needed to be a distribution brewery. And I got a phone call from a man named Chuck Borkowski, who's just been a phenomenal friend throughout the years. He's retired since, but saying, we heard about your project and we want to meet. We want to talk to you about your brand. So we went up there with a business card and us and said, we would love to be able to work with you. I mean, it was really a dream. It was what an opportunity this was for us. And several months later, when we were building the brewery itself, Terry Moran came down, Chuck Borkowski came down, and we had lunch and we had an agreement for them to distribute our beer. And I can say we would not be where we are today without them.
It's like a band getting picked up by a big record label or something, right?
Yeah, an analogy.
Yeah,
right.
And that's fascinating. So they just heard about you, and they're always, I guess, scouting for new products.
Well, that is their business,
and
truly wonderful at their business, and it really could not have been a better match. Not only from getting us off the ground and doing what they've done with our brand to help us in the market, but just personality match. I mean, culturally, it's just been a fantastic blend.
So I want to talk about the growth and the future. You're building a distillery right now. That's in progress. When's it supposed to open, and what's the hope for that?
Wow. We believe we're on target to open before the end of the year.
Okay.
So the distilling equipment is in. This is part of our on-campus expansion. So we have these two smaller buildings in between the brewery and what is the tap room that we've been renovating. So that renovation is done. The equipment's going in, and we hope to have spirits coursing through there, hopefully by the end of the year. So.
And it'll be your own, under your own brand and Grey Sail?
Correct. So it is a separate entity, technically, but it is, as of now, Grey Sail Spirits. Whether it comes up with a different branding name, I'm not quite sure yet. We're not quite at that part of the process, but we are very excited about it. So that'll be another kind of adjunct offering that we have under the Grey Sail brands.
And one of the questions one of my colleagues was curious about was sort of, how you decide about growth, because you, as you said, you're a manufacturing company.
Right.
You can only, maybe you could be picked up in all 50 states, but you probably couldn't make enough beer to serve that many liquor stores at the moment or whatever. How do you think about how big Grey Sail could get, how many states you'd want to be in, and also sort of the trade-offs of how much more maybe capacity you might need if you wanted to go to a lot more states and all that?
And you mentioned a key word, trade-off is always part of it, right? So when we started in 2011, we had capacity for a few thousand barrels. We launched Captain's Daughter, which became very quickly our signature beer. We launched in October 2014, and we found ourselves by December of 2014 being out of capacity. Good problem to have, but a problem nonetheless. So we began plans for our expansion. In 2017, we underwent a major expansion. We had done smaller expansions along the way, but 2017, that summer, we really expanded. We expanded to a capacity of between 14 and 15,000 barrels, theoretically, depending on how you're brewing in a given year. And so now that's our capacity. We're at 14 to 15,000 barrels. As I mentioned, we capped out 2018 at just over 9,000. So we have room to expand. That was done purposefully with intent that one day we would look to other markets, possibly, new beers that would come on the market. We are 5 years after the launch of Captain's Daughter. That brand is still growing in volume. We are still chewing up more and more capacity with our current beers and working toward filling that other 5,000 to 6,000 barrels of capacity. So some of it happened organically with, oh wow, we need to expand. And then some of it is very thoughtful and planful with where will we go in the future.
Built in, yeah.
With our buildings and where we are now and wanting to stay local, I think 15,000 barrels in-house is going to be probably our capacity on site. So we'll see where that 15,000 takes us.
I'm going to remind you that when you're knocking down half of Westerly to do 1 million barrels a year or something. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Jennifer about a new beer they are launching at Grey Sail and how it fits into their plans and what advice you might have for you if you want to get a little smarter about beer. Stick with us on Executive Suite. Welcome back to Executive Suite. I'm Ted Nisi. We're talking today about the beer business with Jennifer Brinton. She is co-owner of Grey Sail in Westerly, and we were talking before the break about Captain's Daughter. You launched in 2014, you said, and that really became your signature beer. But you're now launching a sort of sister to the signature beer, which we have here with us today. Little Sister, tell us about it.
We are. So Little Sister is the session version, so much lower alcohol content than Captain's Daughter, which is our double IPA, and this is a session IPA. And we've been asked time and time again by consumers, by our distributors, when is the Captain's Daughter going to have a friend on the shelf, right? So something that is a more sessionable style. And here she is. So we're launching the Little Sister. Came out on the market, I think about 2 weeks ago. We are already out of stock in Rhode Island, which is wonderful. We're very excited. Again, nice problem to have, right? So, all great plans laid out. We had this launch plan, and when we're rolling out to every single distributor, and 1 week in, and we're changing that plan. Those outer markets are going to be delayed a bit as we continue to really focus on Rhode Island.
Yeah, I guess, and that's what you want as a, right? You'd rather, I mean, you want to have enough stock, but it's like when Apple puts out a new iPhone and they're like, we're trying to get it back in stock. You'd rather have people demanding it than, you sure you don't want one?
Which is, right, there's a balance, right? So as you said before, there's a trade-off to everything, right? You want to have it on the shelf, you want to have it on the taps, but yes, it's nice to know that it's wanted.
And as people listen, you're talking about it's a session IPA, you're talking about kind of what you offer there. I'm sure there are people watching who, they have a beer now and then, they might get it not the supermarket in Rhode Island, but they might get it, they have sort of a standby, but they'd like to get smarter. Maybe they're a little intimidated by all the different offerings and all the new breweries. What would be your advice to someone who wants to sort of become a smarter beer consumer but isn't sure where to start? So we have the fortune in Rhode Island of having a lot of local breweries that you can find on draft at all of the local restaurants, bars, and on the shelf at package stores. Package stores have really done a great job of honing in on a local cooler. So having a local branded cooler where you can go to and explore everything that is basically available to you here, right? So I think that's a great opportunity. And having that, building that culture actually helps the breweries too to produce and be more innovative as well on the market. So it really is kind of a nice balancing act there. So if you want to learn more about beers, try different styles. Beer festivals are a great way to do it. The Rhode Island Brewers Guild runs a great one in April in Newport, which is a great opportunity to try all different kinds of beers without committing to any one of them. Just to experience them, explore them, and learn from other people who are beer connoisseurs who are in line next to you. So I think that's a great opportunity that we have. And then just going out, and when you're going out, just asking the bartender for something that is local or a different style, or have that conversation. So we're really building a culture, and it's what we need to do for our industry. We need to do it, and any help that a consumer gives by engaging in that conversation and being interested in the local market is great. And I've alluded to it, you just mentioned it there. It feels like we've had just an explosion in the beer industry and the growth in recent years. We've had on Nick Garrison from Foolproof, you're here with us today. We've talked to other folks. What do you think is, caused that? Is it happening all over the place, and we're just seeing it here in Rhode Island as well? Is there something in particular about Rhode Island? What have you noticed?
So it is happening all over the country. So I think I don't know the exact years for the stats, but we were at under 2,000 breweries just a short number of years ago, and now we're at over 5,000 breweries in the country. So popping up all over. However, what is different is, when you say 5,000 breweries, we're all different models, all different business models. So we referenced before that we're a packaging brewery. Foolproof packaging brewery, Newport, same. And in Rhode Island, we're up to, I think, 27 breweries at last count, and the count does change regularly. We have a passport for the state to visit the breweries, and that is continually out of date, but we try to keep up. But about 5 of us are packaging breweries, so distributing, a little farther, a little into other states. Most are in-house breweries, so they're brewing, they're not necessarily packaging, maybe they are, but selling right out of their own brewery. So it's a very different business model than what we are.
Maybe something like a growler of it if you're at their brewery, that kind of business.
Or if they're packaging in cans or bottles, selling a case of that out of their brewery itself. So very different business model. They all do work each in its own. It just depends what your goals are. And that's really been this explosion in Rhode Island has been, there have been law changes over the last several years. So back in 2011 when we started, we were the second brewery. There were a couple brew pubs. Or a few brew pubs, and we were the second brewery right after Newport had already been here since they just passed their 20th anniversary. And then a year after us, Full Proof opened up in Pawtucket. So those were really the first 3. After that was when you saw this explosion after 2013. In 2013, we did get the growler law passed, so we were able to market our beer to consumers, tourists who came in. We were able to sell a growler of beer. So that was a huge benefit from the marketing standpoint and really helped to get the name of the beers out there, name of the breweries out there. And then from there, the law changed, I believe, twice since then to allow a little bit more to go out the front door of a brewery. So that has, with those law changes, they've really, more and more breweries have come into the state.
And I can't count how many times I've interviewed brewery folks who complain about, the Rhode Island, at least in the past, had very strict laws around a lot of this that made it harder for people who are entrepreneurs and just wanted to get something started, to sell their product, to do it. What do you think right now is the biggest, what's the one you hear about the most when you all are having, a trade meeting or something to talk about, the industry's priorities? What would you suggest should be looked at that might help further expand this?
So again, it gets back to the different business models, right? So from us, for a packaging brewery, it's working with Commerce Corp and Rhode Island and the different tourist bureaus to really drive that culture of beer, drive the knowledge of it, that we exist, that this is another reason to come to Rhode Island, that in a weekend you can make that passport a reality in a weekend. Not many other states can you do that. So that's from my perspective as a packaging brewery, that's something that we would look to. And I think that is the next thing that would really help with the growth, with the expansion, with the recognition and knowledge of the industry and of the brands.
So the ocean state, but maybe also the beer state over time as people get that passport. All right, we're out of time today. Jennifer Brinton, co-owner of Grey Sail, thank you so much for being with us. Little
Appreciate
Sister,
it.
You can find it if it's not sold out yet, but they're making plenty of it, so it should be there before you know it if you don't have it on the shelf right now. And remember, if you missed any of this episode of Executive Suite or any other episode, you can catch them all on WPRI.com, or you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. See you next week here on Executive Suite.